Okay.
So I guess
Okay, Shalom Israel. I hope everybody is doing well today. Shout out Kyle Cobb and his congregation in Guatemala. Shout out also Zakia SOW Virginia, Quadzap SOW Houston, and Zion SOW Rochester, New York. Hope your brothers and sisters are doing well, fighting a good fight, and staying strong. We're back at Selfish Intent and Counsel again. I talked to the class before we went on live, just to remind them that we take our time through these classes because we want to make sure we are as thorough as we can with different aspects of why Israel does what they do. And this class, or this topic of classes, is really for Israel who are put in positions of leadership, whether it's brothers, whether it's men who are heads of household, whether it's sisters who have responsibilities to counsel with other sisters. It's really to learn to have the right mindset going into counsel. And it's really about making sure that as we're about to help our people, we are conscious about the effect of our conduct and our motivations and our intentions. We got to be conscious of that effect on the people we work with every day. So this is why we're taking our time with this topic. So let's get to 1 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 1. We're going to read through the entire chapter, but make periodic stops to explain the point.
1 Corinthians 6 and 1. Dare any of you, having a matter against another, go to law before the unjust and not before the saints?
What is this verse explaining? He says, dare any of you, having a matter against another, go to law before the unjust and not before the saints.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we might not, well, I'm not going to say we might not. A lot of times, we might not go to the police to deal with our issues, besides it being domestic issues. A lot of times, domestically, we'll sit back here, maybe go call the authorities with scenarios like this. But what Paul is explaining in the churches that are in Greece, he's like, there was a major issue with brotherhood. And because the issue with brotherhood was so bad, instead of having the love, the patience, and the communication skills, we would always go to Esau, always go to our enemies to get situations fixed. Now, we might not, at this present time, always go to Esau to deal with our issues. But one thing that hasn't changed is that we lack the capacity to counsel and work on issues and move forward and build on our relationship after the counsels and the gatherings together a lot of times. That is still a prevalent thing, that there is a desire to go to outside sources to solve problems. When if we just had enough love and had enough patience and had enough counselors around us, we can kind of work through a lot of the information and a lot of the issues amongst the body. We sit back here, hell, even in the camp, we have to sit back and get to high counsel before issues are even talked about. We can't even come together and counsel and work on issues amongst one another, just on a basic level. So he's paralleling that Israel back in the day still didn't have the ability to come together and work out issues amongst themselves.
And you look at Jake, that's the reality of Jake families.
Yep.
You can't really talk and do things in-house because nobody respects you.
And because that's the issue. And the reason that they always go to higher authorities, because there's no respect in the Israelite realm that the leadership is going to have each party's best interest in mind. There's not a lot of trust amongst the body. Mm-hmm. And then a lot of times leadership hasn't earned the trust and respect to bring issues up to the top in hopes that there'll be good faith given to one another when these issues are brought to the table. So it's an issue on both sides. It's a lack of leadership and a lack of accountability from the top, And it's a lack of trust from the bottom, mixed with pride. They're going to go to Esau to sit back here and get their issues fixed. Okay? So let's continue.
Verse 2. Do ye not know that the saints shall judge the
He
world?
says, don't you realize that the saints are going to judge the world? Read on.
And if the world shall be judged by you, are ye unworthy to judge the smallest matters?
He says the saints are going to judge the world. So why in the hell can't we as a nation come together and work on judging small matters on a daily basis?
Small affairs.
Small affairs. Everybody talks about taking the kingdom. I can't count on how many times I've heard about we're taking out Esau's kingdom soon. This kingdom is a fallen. Everything's about to happen. What's going to happen when Esau's kingdom falls and we can't counsel and judge properly?
Basic stuff.
To gain the trust of the body. Everybody talks about Bibles and reading scriptures and taking down this wicked kingdom. How are we going to take down a wicked kingdom if we don't have enough leaders that judge and make sense in their judgment? And this is what Paul is explaining to us. Don't forget the title of the class is The Importance of Counseling Without Selfish Intentions. This is the second part. What Paul is explaining is, listen, bro, we're talking about the kingdom and the power and the glory, but we haven't learned the fundamental aspects of judgment. Listening. Sticking to the scriptures to manage and establish respect. I was sitting back here listening to a back and forth argument literally 15 minutes ago. And there wasn't one Bible verse pulled. There wasn't one Bible verse pulled. It was just talking back and forth. Nothing getting accomplished. Just negative, 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 laugh, laugh, attack, attack, jab, jab, and jab. But we're supposed to be, we got next? What do we got next to do? Argue with each other? Yell at each other? Not have the ability to work out problems and deal with solutions? Because when we know what the spirit of counsel, yes, this class is supposed to be focused on counseling from the top. But what is the spirit of counsel in general? The spirit of counsel is about being able to pull scriptures and use the scriptures as the barometer to establish how we're supposed to conduct ourselves, how we're supposed to deal amongst one another. And too many times, more times than not, we fail consistently on our ability to stick to the book so that we can have proper judgment. Too many times our emotions get in the way, our desires get in the way, our pride gets in the way, and our ego gets in the way. And it disallows us to establish the spirit of judgment. You can't you can't judge, you can't deal right from wrong, you can't solve problems, you can't fix issues amongst the body of Christ if brothers don't rely on staying spiritual. Too many times we want to interject our own opinions, our own attitudes, how we look at things, and don't just keep things in the spirit of teaching and edifying. Read verse 2 again.
1 Corinthians 6:2. Do ye not know that the saints shall judge the world? And if the world shall be judged by you, are ye unworthy to judge the smallest matters?
The funny thing is, how do you think we earn the right to judge the world down the line?
Based on how we deal with the small matters.
But that's the problem. If we don't look at counsel that way. We don't look at teaching and development that way. If we had the consciousness that, hey, the Most High is looking at how I judge this brother, this sister, how I counsel this brother, this sister, to determine if I am worthy to judge the world, maybe we'd be less emotional when we judge our brother. Maybe we'd be more to the scriptures and separate us from the equation if we know that how we counsel our wives would determine if we are capable of counseling and judging the world. Do we sit back here and think of that? When we're sitting back here and reacting emotionally to people pissing you off because you had a long day and you don't want to be told you off, you don't want to be challenged, you don't want to hear this person's conversation. That's the problem. But we're going to take the kingdom and possess it forever and ever and ever. We're going to sing songs about it. We're going to eat barbecue and say that. Kwam Yashala. Kwam Yashala. Kwam Yashala! We talk about taking the kingdom and rising Israel, but we don't even know that we're on the hook based on how we deal with each other right now. And how we treat our significant others, the ones who have less power than we have, the ones that we know are more ignorant than we are. That is how we show how we're going to be able to run the world. We talk about the kingdom, we're going to be judging the nations. Why would the Most High let you be the judge of the nation? Huh? When in the world on earth, you'd have a kangaroo court.
Have an evil court, because it says, "Well done, our good and faithful cities." As they say, here's double talents. But the other breakdown of other parable is you get 2 cities. Have a city, 2 cities.
You ain't getting no cities. Why do we going to award you another city to be responsible for? Well, you can't handle your apartment.
Yeah,
that's the truth. You can't handle 600 square feet. Israel can't manage and judge 600 square feet. We want the kingdom out. I'm gonna say 600 square feet. It's not even a 1 bedroom. It's like an efficiency act. Yeah. We can't lead an efficiency. We can't lead a studio act. We can't judge properly there, right? Where everybody wants to be the leader, the don, the judge. And this is what Paul is explaining. If we always have to rely on outside sources to just basically deal as a brother, because why do we have to keep bringing things up rank?
We can't.
You're supposed to.
If it escalates. We're
supposed to sit back here and as brothers work on problems.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't work, because of evil heartedness, malignant root.
Yeah.
Next stage.
Then all of a sudden, now we got to bring people in.
Yep.
Once again, why do we have to do that?
There's no respect or good faith amongst men at that
level,
tier system.
There and at the top too. We're starting at the lower level. We're going to work ourselves up. So, hold this and go to Philippians chapter 3 and verse 18 and 19.
Philippians chapter 3 and verse 18. Read. For many walk, of whom I have told you often, and now tell you even weeping.
Paul is like, he's really upset that a lot of us are walking and operating in this negative way. Read on.
Come. That they are the enemies of the cross of Yahushua.
He says there's Israelites out here that can salute and wear fringes and have garments, and they're still enemies of Christ. Enemies of the Spirit of Christ. Enemies of the mind of Christ. Well, how are we enemies of the mind of Christ? Read on.
Whose end is destruction.
He says how these people, how they're rolling is going to be destruction. Read on.
Whose God is their belly.
Meaning their motivation. There's a lot of Israelites whose motivation is their belly, their desires, their feelings, their will, their mind. That's why they make decisions. That's why they counsel. That's the spirit that they counsel.
From appetite. Yeah.
It's their appetite. If I'm angry, then I'll be rude and sarcastic. If I'm sad, then I'm going to distance myself from it. If I'm disappointed, then I'm not going to reinvest and give more. The problem with our people is we operate and serve the Most High based on how our appetites and our body feels.
Yeah.
If I'm down, I don't show up. If I'm angry, I don't want to submit. If I'm pissed off, I'm not going to accept correction from the people over top. This is just how we roll.
But won't respect at the same time.
But we want respect at the same time. And what Paul is explaining, he says he's weeping that this type of thinking makes us the enemies of Christ, because our God, what we value is what we want.
More than the Spirit of Christ.
Then judgment.
That makes me
then judgment. Because the Spirit of Christ is truly embracing and valuing judgment. Because the only thing that should be motivating us on a daily basis is right from wrong. Obedience. But our desires, a lot of times, are more important than obedience and judgment. There's a reason you read all throughout the Old Testament. Most High keeps drilling the idea of judgment, wanting judgment. The desire for judgment has nothing to do with just tearing people down and destroying people and telling people that they're off. Judgment is the foundation in which why we operate and do the things we do every day.
And judgment is synonymous.
It's our morals, it's our integrities.
It's synonymous with equity.
Because it says judgment and equity.
Yeah, it's always together. Yes. Judgment, equity. Judgment, equity. What's equity? What's fair for this situation? The Most High hates, I always quote the scripture, but scripture says the Most High hates unjust balance. Unjust balance talking about how you distribute judgment or equity. If that counsel was not fair because your appetite was primary, well, how's it against the counsel?
And this is why we go on to this topic. Because what we have to keep examining ourselves. When the scripture says examine yourself, whether you be in the faith, what are you examining really?
Your thoughts, your actions.
What's my motivation behind correcting this person this way? Because the problem is how we counsel. There's always different levels of duality behind the counsel. It's not good enough for those of us who know right from wrong to give a counsel and then be angry behind it. Why can't we learn how to deliver the message and detach disgust? Because we'll sit back here and say, hey, I did counsel that brother. I did counsel that sister. True, but how'd you do it? Was it out of love? Or did you counsel and respond and react out of anger and hatred because you had to do it 50 times? So then what spirit are you in when you're delivering a good message? This is what we're supposed to be examining ourselves in to determine if the Spirit is with us or not. This is what the Most High is looking at to determine, are they going to be able to judge the world? Why the whole world suffers because of bad leadership. The whole world suffers because of bad judges.
That's the common thread to suffer.
That's the point.
People's poverty.
Esau is a horrible judge. Because all Esau wants is your natural resources, and they'll pay off a couple leaders and officials. They don't give a damn about the rest of the people in those countries.
That's his appetite.
That's his appetite. So he doesn't care about the people. We are supposed to be getting groomed. This is what have you noticed your life is constantly a life of counsels? Life is a life of counsels, which means it's a life of giving. Then the question is, how well do you give? Do you give angrily? Do you give emotionally? Do you give sarcastically? Do you give with consideration? How do you give? Because these are the things that we get measured by. And all of those selfish carnal motivations behind how we give determines if our God is our belly. So let's continue in Philippians.
Come. Philippians chapter 3 and verse 19 reads, whose end is destruction, whose God is their belly, and whose glory...
When it says these people's glory is in gaining an advantage, or bad counselor's glory is in just giving however they feel. I'm going to counsel and teach how I feel. A brother used to tell me back in the day that this is New York back in the day. And it's not just New York, I promise you this. The brothers would sit back here and have an argument with their rib at the house. And then guess what class is going to be that night? how wicked Eve is at. Yes. There's this hours of class about how wicked Eve is because you had an argument with your rib that night. But that's how we roll a lot of times. We'll sit back and teach and operate and counsel based off the mood that we're in. That means that how we roll isn't in the purest way that we're supposed to operate in. Yes. What you got?
Ecclesiastes 23.
What verse?
6 to 8.
I'm going there. That's soon. That's soon too. That's soon.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
I got a scripture.
Well, let me just stir the pot a little bit. Can I stir the pot a little bit? Go for it. What you got? There's a pot. There's gumbo I'm putting together.
Listen,
but it's lawful gumbo. It's lawful gumbo.
It's gumbo.
It's lawful gumbo. It's turkey and it's turkey meat.
It's turkey. There's a little bit of
okra's still lawful. It's cool.
Some salmon in there.
There's some chicken in there. Yeah, it's okay. It's lawful gumbo.
Yeah.
What you got?
Luke 5:22. It's a basic precept.
A high key thing I'm going to go to, but that's okay.
Nah.
You don't think? You didn't even look at it. How do you know I'm not going to go there?
I know you're not going here.
God, that's horrible. Let's go there. Luke what?
Luke chapter 5, verse 22.
Because it's a small little thing. Small little teeny tiny thing.
No problem.
It's not wild. Luke 5:22.
Luke chapter 5, verse 22. But when Yahushua perceived their thoughts, he answered and said unto them, what reason ye in your hearts?
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
That's simple. You got to break it down. It says how much more clear can it be? Christ himself said, what is the reason
behind what you do
in your heart? That's what Christ. There's not a war and SOT. And
yes.
This what this
we're not just being overboard guys.
Man, we
they're always digging deep. Can they just give us a break and give us a knowledge class on Monday?
Yeah.
I know it's what kind of things. Can you just give us knowledge about the chariots or something?
Yeah.
What's your problem? But Christ said himself, what reason you or ye? What's your reason?
Yes.
Ye means you.
And that's what examination should really be about. Honest examination about your motivation.
Yeah.
Because what he's saying is, what we glory in our method.
Yeah.
We glory in our negative reason. We glory in our negative way of doing things. We glory in I'm just passionate, brother. That's why I'm yelling. Is it passionate or you're emotional? I just love what I do every day. That's why I talk down to brothers all the time. I'm just passionate about the truth.
Excuse me for the business of my passion.
Exactly. I've heard people say, yeah, man, yeah, you know, I might be kind of rude in how I teach, but you know, it's because I'm from New York. Oh, come on. So because you're from New York, you're going to blame the New York metropolitan area as to why you're disrespectful and you're rude and you tear people down? Get out of here and you're just you're negative with how you talk to people. I'm going to blame it on the fact that I'm from Brooklyn. Stop. You're going to blame it on Brooklyn. I had to boogie down. That's going to be the reason why you're justified to be rude and disrespectful. Come on, now. But that's what people use all the time to justify their negative. What he's saying is their glory, their justification as to why they're rude and negative to people and that they don't judge properly is because of what? It says their glory is really their what? What's in Philippians?
It says whose glory is in their shame.
He says whose glory is in their shame. Really, how they roll is what brings about shame to them. And how we talk and our negative motivations behind our counsel really defines how shameful we are and how disconnected we are towards the Heavenly Father. Our glory, our habits that we pride ourselves in, how we have these ridiculously high mood swings. We're high and we're low, we're happy and we're sad. Then we bear gifts and we can't stand in your guts the next day. That process is actually our shame. Because our methodology and our reasoning for doing the things we do isn't out of the purest intention. And this is what we should be thinking about as we're counselors. However you feel, whatever is going on in your mind, can you detach that from the message? Can you detach that from delivering what Israel needs? If we can successfully do that, now we are showing the Most High that we might be capable to judge the nation. Let that go and go to Micah, chapter 3 and 9. What's that?
One verse after.
After this, because after this is when Proverbs 23 kicks in anyway.
Proverbs 23.
I mean, Ecclesiastes 23.
Oh.
So, Micah chapter 3, verse 9 through 11. Somebody give me real quick 1 Corinthians 6 and 2 again. This is that we don't lose track of the direction we were going in the first place.
1 Corinthians 6 and 2. Do ye not know that the saints shall judge the world, and that the world shall be judged by you? Are ye unworthy to judge the smallest matter?
The question that the Most High is looking at us to see, are we unworthy to judge the smallest matters? And a lot of times we are. And a lot of times we are is because we emotionally can't handle disseminating the message and giving it as pure and as pure intention as possible.
So you're saying it's basically pure spiritual thinking and judgment versus carnal, passionate appetite.
Got it?
And those are the two.
Mixed with some good words, some good Bible verses. Because that's what happens. We'll pull the right verse, but give it in a negative spirit because we're angry. Am I right or wrong?
That's right.
We do it all the time. We'll sit back here and see a person needs something and deliver the message in such a cruel way, and then we'll wonder why a person doesn't receive it or doesn't say anything to you or reacts to you negatively. So, now we're going to hold this. We're going back to this, but give me Micah. Did I say Micah? Yeah, Micah. 3.
9.
And 9.
In verse 9.
Micah chapter 3, verse 9. Hear
that.
this, I pray you.
Hold on. Let me get that. I'm sorry. Sneezing. Micah 3 and 9. Read that.
God, hear this, I pray you, ye heads of the house of Jacob. And princes.
He's talking, that's my point. He's talking to leadership. He's like, listen, heads of Israel, because he's dealing with the ones who are supposed to be judges, supposed to be counselors, supposed to be teachers, supposed to be the ones who are here to help the people out. Read on.
And princes of the house of Israel.
He says leaders, heads, and princes of the house of Israel.
That abhor judgment.
A lot of Israel abhors judgment. But how do we abhor judgment?
Does abhor mean hate?
Hate, yes. Because he says the leaders hate judgment. Read on.
And pervert all equity.
And he says we hate judgment and we pervert equity. Let's go to definition of pervert in the 1828.
Pervert.
And he says this is how we hate judgment. And I see this amongst Israel a lot. We'll pervert judgment, or we show the Most High that we hate judgment. If I show the Most High I hate judgment, then I'm also showing him that I'm not the guy that can be relied on at the next life to lead and judge properly later on. But how do we show hatred towards judgment? You know, what's pervert?
Pervert, 1828, Webster's Dictionary. To turn from truth.
To turn from truth. The message that we deliver really isn't as pure as we think it is. Because the message that we deliver really should inspire. It really should strengthen. It really should give clarity. But a lot of times how we communicate and how we deal, do we really inspire one another? Or do we do more tearing away, destroying, and bringing down and getting people not to be able to really grasp truth.
We interject ourselves.
That's the whole point. That's how we hate judgment. Because too much of ourselves gets put into the mix of correction and teaching. It's going to explain something even more. Read on.
God. To turn from truth, propriety,
Mm-hmm.
or from its proper purpose.
Too many times we counsel and we take away the message gets diverted from the proper purpose and intent that the message was supposed to be delivered. Too many times we'll bring out information in a negative, condescending tone, but that was not the purpose of what that message was supposed to be brought in. We want to sit back here and teach in a way or react in a way that wasn't the intention of what that verse was created to be given. So if we don't understand the spirit that the message is going to be should be given in, then we're doing more harm than good. We're more destructive than helpful. This is how we pervert judgment and equity. It's because we take a pure message and we spin it and we retard it and we corrupt it and we bring too much of our little negative nuances in the midst of the message and think we're still teaching the pure word of the Most High.
It's very close to, I'll give you a carnal example, a common carnal example. Facebook. You go to the Facebook's news feed, it's all based off what Zuckerberg feels.
Yeah.
You're going through this feed, you're reading.
Mm-hmm.
This is approved by Mr. Zuckerberg. It's approved by a liberal man's thinking.
Mm-hmm.
You go to another website, a common website, and all the messages are approved by the corporate interest or the corporate investors. These investors don't like this message. So you're not going to get any topics or subjects that go against this narrative because the people that fund this website don't like any information that kind of goes this direction.
Goes against the narrative.
So, and that is not being, what did journalists call it? It's a term for like, you're supposed to be, you're not supposed to inject your opinion. Yeah, non-bias.
Yep.
We inject our bias in these councils, or we inject our personal bias.
And that's what the definition goes into.
Oh, there we go.
So read the next part of the definition.
Right. It says, to distort from its true use.
A lot of times how we counsel and deal with people, we're distort from the true use of what that verse is supposed to be. The true spirit behind that message. We corrupt the message because we try to bring our own opinions into the mix. The scriptures should be pure, clear, and in the right intention and the right spirit when you're doing it. But what we do a lot of times, we sit back here and rest and we manipulate and we spin things to justify what we want. And then we think we're doing God's work. Then we sit back here and think we're really counseling. How many times we sit back here and counsel to tear down? We counsel to sit back here and
To wound.
we counsel to wound. We don't counsel with the intention to develop and build up. We counsel to destroy.
Because I'm offended.
Because I am offended and I want you to feel what I feel.
No different.
So when I want to make you feel how I feel, that's when I'm injecting myself in. And that's when I'm distorting from its true use and end. Does that make sense? Read on.
It says, to distort from its true use or end, as to pervert reason by misdirecting it,
Mm-hmm.
to pervert the laws by misinterpreting and misapplying them.
Too many times, this is what the Most High had such an issue with when it came to the Korban money.
Yeah.
How we sat back here and manipulated a loophole
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
to justify their coming up. It's okay to give us a gift, while that simultaneously, that gift is the reason why that man's parents have no savings and have no way to live. Because that's what they were doing with the Korban money. in Matthew where it says it is a gift. Well, it was a gift from the son. And the son didn't want to have to deal with the responsibility of carrying his elder parents and having to deal with that. So he gave their portion of the inheritance and gave it to the priest. And the priest didn't check the young person that gave the money because it was a gift.
Something.
But the Korban money in general was meant to take care of the poor and the needy and the people that didn't have what they needed. It's still that manipulation. I'm going to take something that's good and spin it to justify what I want. Israel does it with the laws all the time. We can sit back here and carry ourselves a certain way, and we'll pull a loophole to justify how we're justified to operate in a certain way, but expect the wife to sit back here and show love and mercy and patience, but I don't got to do the same for them. Or brothers have to be in order, but I don't have to be responsible. I don't have to be accountable for my actions. You just got to lock into me. But I'm going to sit back here and tear down every little thing you do. There are little ways that we manipulate from being an example, and that we run from being a good judge and wonder why the Most High isn't happy with us. Let's continue.
Right.
And pervert, yeah.
Yeah, it says, to pervert justice, to pervert the meaning of an author.
A lot of times we pervert the meaning of what these scriptures really are to justify the flesh. This is what a lot of camps do. A lot of camps spin the purpose, the intention behind certain verses just to get what they want. Read on.
Right. It says, to pervert nature, to pervert truth, to turn from the right to corrupt.
So we got that, right?
Right.
So go back and read Micah 3 and verse 9.
Micah, from the top again.
Yeah.
Micah chapter 3, verse 9. Hear this, I pray you, ye heads of the house of Jacob, and princes of the house of Israel, that abhor judgment and pervert all equity.
This is what the Most High is trying to make sure that we don't do when we're in a position of leadership. But how do you even get to the point of leadership if you don't learn equity at a young age in the truth? You should be sitting back here and dealing with equity and counsel as soldiers, as young officers. We should understand the spirit of equity at that particular time. We shouldn't be so dependent on higher captains in general solving all the problems when we have the Bible and we hear the Bible all day long. We should be able to use the scriptures to establish order and judgment amongst ourselves if it's in the right spirit. That's how we practice ourselves to get ready for down the line. Yes, I.
When you say equity, are you talking about the value of a thing?
Not necessarily the value of a thing. Equity is about what's fair. Because when you're dealing with judgment, you're dealing with what's right and what's wrong.
Right.
What's fair and what's unfair.
Right.
And when you're dealing with a two-party scenario where people are offended, what's equitable? If I offended you, what do I need to do to establish equity in a relationship? To make things right. But people don't think about equity in that regards. Listen, a brother is offended. What do I got to do to make the change? Because as we continue going to 1 Corinthians, the Most High keeps showing us that when there are these issues that come up, somebody has to learn what taking low means, so that there can be equity. Somebody has to back down and have a brotherly consideration for relationships to work, for trust to be built, for bonds to be nurtured, for the body to keep progressing forward.
And another definition of the word equity is also impartial.
Yeah.
Another word for it is impartial. This is not about my personal benefit. When a man makes things about his personal benefit, then that opens the door for a person to be partial in the judgment. That brother hooks me up, so I'm not going to check that brother. There ain't no way I'm going to check this brother in this house. Hey, brother was off. Your boy was off. Well, you know what? I know. But listen, I'm going to talk to him because I'm going to do him the side.
I'll revert him tomorrow.
But if it
We'll talk
wasn't
about
that, but if it wasn't him, brother, that you're short with,
Yeah.
he would have did 500 push-ups. He would have did 400 push-ups. He would have been dry. He lost his rent. But because it's your boy, y'all sip a little together, and he tells you good
Y'all
conversations.
cut up a little bit.
Y'all cut up a little
bit.
bit. Hey, just stop! Don't do that again. Don't do that no more, huh?
Because I'm gonna lose a cut up buddy now. I can't party with you no more.
I can't check my boy like that because after this we gotta kick it. He gonna be upset at me.
We can't be friends no more.
Like,
You ain't
you gonna lose a friend now, and that's a part of the game. A part of the game is you got no friends out. If you're the judge,
There's an African proverb which is a speaker of truth has very few friends. Has no friends. A speaker of truth has no friends. And that's the fact.
So you want friends out? You want these bonds and connections? It better be in Christ, because if it's not in Christ, guess what?
Last.
You're gonna burn up your carnal connection. Oh, this brother had the hookups. I'm not getting no discounts now.
But what you said is that equity is impartiality.
Yeah. Equity. No, not equity. Impartial.
Yes.
I'll get a better word for it.
But no, that's a great word. Impartial.
Yeah.
I'm not going to favor one over the other.
Yeah, that's a better way to say it. I'm not favoring
That was
sides.
a good explanation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not favoring sides because we favor based off, listen, man, like the judge is like, Diddy got away with all that. I know this is off the topic, but he got away with a lot.
Yeah.
But he has a lot of money. Now, if it was
And the head prosecutor, I think the prosecutor of defense was connected to like Epstein's in it. The Epstein case.
yeah, there's a little connection going.
The lawyer that he
That's what it said. It was the prosecutor or the defense.
The
Yeah.
lawyer was the same.
Johnny.
No, it was Young Thug.
Johnny.
He had just won Young Thug. He just won Young Thug's case earlier that year.
So he got out. He got away.
Yeah,
I didn't know he got out.
He did the RICO.
everybody's winning.
All I knew was Gunner Toe. That's all I knew.
He did it.
Gunner Toe that. Him and Takashi Toe that. That's what I know. I didn't know anything else.
But if you want to win these cases, you gotta be in some type of affiliation with the judge. You have to have people on your side that the judge is connected to. Hey, bro, talk to the judge, man. Let him know.
Mm-hmm.
So that's partiality.
Con.
That's using favoritism to get your way, but God's against that.
Con. And this is what you have to keep dealing with and making sure that this thinking is in the right spirit, so the most like an honest. But let's continue in Micah.
Micah chapter 3 verse 10. They build up Zion with blood and Jerusalem with iniquity.
When you sit back here and judgment is not your foundation, then everything else crumbles. Everything else crumbles. Your society crumbles. This is why, as men now, we have to understand that your decisions should be based on judgment, what's right and what's wrong, not how you feel. How you feel and what you go through, or the shame that you feel this day or that day, cannot factor in the message and how the message is delivered. Have you sat back here and if you've been in pain or soreness and you got to correct, have you noticed that your correction is a lot more curt, to the point, rude, there's more anger behind the message? Just know you're out the spirit when that's how you deal. Because why should the Most High's word change because your back's hurt? Why should the word of the Most High change because you're pissed and you want to be alone? Why should the Most High's word be tainted because you've been counseling all day and you don't feel like counseling no more?
The rib's tripping, so now the counsel's going to change.
That's my point. You see where this is going and where these topics have been going? These are very important concepts to teach because we're not conscious of the negative spirit we're in. For the most part, we focus on, I pulled the right verse. I pulled the right scripture. But she's not listening. This person's not responding. Maybe they're not responding because the message you're trying to deliver is not in the right spirit that it's supposed to be delivered in. And if we took more inventory on that level, maybe we get better responses from the people that we're responsible to be working with. Okay. Continue in verse 11.
Verse 11. The heads thereof judge for
A
reward.
lot of times we judge for benefit. Or to be specific, if I'm not getting something out the deal, maybe my intensity and my focus isn't the same.
So that's a major point too.
If I don't stand to gain something at this particular point, maybe I might not be as attentive or as alert or have as much consideration because I'm not getting something out of it.
Well,
Versus when you have the option to get something, you're all in tune.
I have any.
You're the greatest counselor ever.
I have any interest in this counsel. Okay, I'm not getting nothing from this. Okay. All right, brother. What's your problem?
And that's the
You
point.
look disappointed.
It's not necessarily about a financial gain.
Yeah.
It's about what incentive are you getting when you engage in teaching this word for anybody.
Yeah.
You have to be checking yourself on every level. Because how is it when you're not interested, you're super sleepy? You really don't feel like counseling right here because I'm just super tired. But it was something that you want. Cut the coffee on. Let's get this coffee brewing. Let's get another cup. What does it take? Let me listen to your problems. You know that's what's in us. But we expect the Lord to honor that type of thing. Just that's how we judge for reward. Read on.
God, verse 11. The heads thereof judge for reward, and the priests thereof teach for hire.
A lot of times we might not be as extreme like this. We might not just be extreme about money and just having all these things, but we still got to check our motivations. We still got to check why we are hyper focused on one person and less on another person. Why is you should all sit back here and check yourself in this regard. Do I give the same amount of intensity to every single brother I come across? Is my focus the same? Is my clarity the same? Is my intention in delivering the message the same? That's how we can check ourselves. It might not be as extreme as the heads in Israel at that time, but there is a lot of bias amongst us. Or do you sit back here and give less because you're tired? Do you listen less because you're tired?
That's a major one.
And that's a real thing.
Because the flesh is pulling, and now the spirits need.
Now
you're gonna be a bad parent and a bad judge.
And that's my point. Are you alert? Is your patience and mercy there when your flesh gets touched? These are the things you have to ask yourself in the midst of you saying that you want to judge. Because this is what it's going to take. These things have to be fixed in you so that we will have an opportunity to judge the world. We're not going to just be awarded the opportunity to judge the world if we haven't fixed our intentions and how we operate now. This is why it's so important that we rehearse the righteous acts and exercise our conduct amongst the body of Christ. Because how will you ever learn how do you operate the right way unless you're around a bunch of people that you don't know? But anyway, let's continue.
Never know. That's a great point.
This is why camps matter.
We know how we roll around people we like have 5-10 years deep with.
Yep.
We have friendships, relationships built up with. But how do you operate with people that you don't relate to?
Yep.
That's a major point. I can't relate to you, bro. So now this counseling is going to be a little different.
And that's why the Most High brings so many different people in your life. Go from different walks of life, different age gaps. Because all of these different people are revealing weakness in you. We want to say, "Oh, these guys are crazy. They're crazy." I'm in an animal house right now. Is it really? I'm in a San Antonio Zoo right now. Is it really that, or is that these different spirits you're too immature to deal with?
Nick.
Listen, brothers think they be in a camp. They going to Arkham Asylum or something like that. It ain't Arkham. Listen, we're the psychopaths that don't know how to deal with everybody else. Anyway, let's keep going now.
Middle of 11. And the prophets thereof divine for money.
Read on.
Yet will they lean upon the Lord and say, Is not the Lord among us?
Just like us. We'll say the Spirit's with us. We'll counsel and teach and say the Spirit's with us, not realizing that we're emotional and we're unstable and and our counsels vary amongst different people, but we'll still say the Spirit is with us. Because we don't take enough inventory as to how we work with our people. We don't check ourselves as we are correcting and developing and building the people around us.
Which is dangerous.
Because if we do that properly, then we can start working on fixing things in-house. This still goes back to 1 Corinthians 6. Why do we always have to go to places outside of Israel to deal with problems? Because we're overly emotional in Israel. We take things too personal. We have extreme feelings one way or the other. And a lot of times we have problems with having unbiased counsel.
I can't relate.
Unbiased solutions.
Here from the streets.
Unbiased
You
message.
can't check.
John.
If you're not from this place,
Yep.
you can't check.
And that's the truth.
That's real.
And there's too many biases in how we deal with amongst each other. This is why these issues always occur when we always have to go to outside resources to deal with problems. But let's continue. Let that go. Now we're going to go to Ecclesiastes chapter 23. Verse 6. You want to go through 8, right? Earlier?
Yes.
Let's do Ecclesiastes chapter 23. Verse 6 through 8.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 23 and verse 6, page 84. Let not the greediness of the belly, nor lust of the flesh, take hold of me.
This is what we should be praying for, Rock. If you want to be a good counselor, Rock, listen. If you want to sit back here and be a leader, be a good teacher, being able to bring the message out as clearly as possible to help your people. Everybody wants to help their people. If you want to help your people, one of the things we should be praying for and asking is that the greediness of the belly and the lust of the flesh, praying that it doesn't take hold of you. You have to fight and pray to make sure that the flesh doesn't dominate you when you counsel, when you teach, when you motivate, when you work with the people around you. All of us have different forms of the lust of the flesh. We all have different forms of greed and hatred. And we got to be praying and asking the Most High that this thing doesn't get in our way when we're trying to develop our people. Read on. You wanted 7 and 8, Elijah?
Mm-hmm.
Continue. Read on.
Verse 6, let not the greediness of the belly, nor lust of the flesh, take hold of me.
Because it still went back to the concept of if I am overly confrontational, overly, what's another word for it?
Reactionary?
Abrasive. It still goes back to what its flesh is satisfying, right? Because the person is constantly going at someone, constantly trying to tear someone down, they're getting something from that.
Mm-hmm.
It's stimulating an emotional reaction. That is what it's called out. That's when it means the lust of the flesh. Read it again.
Let not the greediness of the belly, nor lust of the flesh, take hold of me, and give not over me, thy servant, into an impudent mind.
Shamelessly bold. He's like, and don't let me get bold in my way. What does that mean? I'm going to get into it. What it's saying is, it's one thing to counsel. It's one thing to have confidence in what you do. But you can't be so confident in what you do that you're not willing to listen to somebody to show you that there's a better way to do it.
That's a fact.
Because too many times we're confident and bold in our procedure. We're confident in how we talk to people. We're confident in how we roll on people. But you can't be impudent, which is a shamelessly bold person that is not willing to take adjustments. And you know the crazy thing is, the more different people you come across with, you better learn how to adapt how you communicate to different people.
Yep.
Because the same way you roll on this person ain't gonna roll on this, ain't gonna work for that next person. The same way you talk to this person, you can't talk to this person the same way you talk to that person.
And the same way you want people to address you, you want to be addressed the same way.
Is it?
For example, for me, right? When I came to camp, listen, bro, everybody yelled at me all the time. I was just yelling and screaming, screaming and yelling every day.
Mm-hmm.
And I know why, because I don't respect nothing else. I don't respect nothing else. But you know, I learned though. If you ain't gonna blast me, I'm not taking the counsel serious.
Yeah.
Until another brother comes to the camp and we'll start just talking. They just have a conversation with the brother. I'm like, why you talking to him like this?
Yeah.
Because I did thousands of push-ups. You yelled and blew me up every day about this, and then you have a talk with him, and he just goes by his way out.
And he listens.
That used to bother me. And I realized he listens when there's a talk.
Yeah.
When I get a talk, I'm like, okay, that's a suggestion.
That's not in order.
The brother suggested I should stop doing this. So sometimes people are used to what affects them, and they'll say, well, it's good for the goose, good for what? The gander. Well, you gotta study your students. What student needs what spirit? So certain.
Yeah, because I can't count on my hand, because I can't count on my hand how many men said, I was dealt with hard this way.
Yep.
Then y'all gotta get dealt with this way.
That was the case. It's not always the case. Sometimes different men have different temperaments, and we have to adapt per temperament.
Yep.
And it can't always be that they're soft and they're sensitive. It can always be the answer.
God.
Sometimes you're just not skillful what you do.
Yep.
Certain men need a lot of listening. Certain men need a suggestion or two. Certain men need to get you out of joke.
But how do you figure it out unless you detach how you feel?
Yeah.
And what you thought was wrong in your heart?
Mm-hmm.
You got to give everybody a clean slate and learn how to deal with everybody different. And in order to do that, you can't have an impudent mind.
And what was said earlier about being fair and being the same across the board, that means the same level of attention.
Yes.
It doesn't mean if it's fire time and everybody gets the same fire, every man can't handle the same fire. Certain men can handle it, certain men can't. So you gotta find, a good teacher finds out what way do you have to communicate to every child or every student. But every child, every student has to get the same amount of mental attention.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Just like in school. In school, there's certain students that need to be pulled to the side and they need to be communicated with and get extra lessons and extra classes and extra talking to and understanding. And other students, you can just tell them on the whiteboard, do X, Y, and Z, and they get the job done.
And then other kids, you got to bring their ass to the front.
Yeah.
Because they ain't gonna listen.
Yep.
Unless, and then bring their friends to the back.
Yep.
And you can't have them together up in class. And they ain't getting nothing done.
Exactly.
They're perfectly smart. They just don't want to listen.
Yep.
And you got to sting every time they do this. What happened over there? What happened? What happened? No. Keep your butt here.
Yep.
Or are you gonna sit back here and have the attention?
Yep.
Some people got to get going with the attention all the damn time.
Okay.
That's the only thing they respect.
Okay.
So in the midst of learning how to fix what's inside of you, verse 7 ties in with this whole thing. Read verse 7.
Ecclesiastes 23, verse 7. Hear, O ye children, the discipline of the mouth.
He's telling you, you have to learn to control how you communicate on top of controlling the lust and your emotions that flow inside of you. If you can't learn to control your mouth, how are we ever going to be able to work on issues amongst Israel, amongst ourselves?
Yeah.
How are you going to ever keep a family together when things are chaotic? If you're the leader and you're a loose cannon and you're snapping when things is crazy,
yep.
and you're not handling pressure properly, and you're saying the wrong things all the time, how do you expect a household to stay together or a camp to stay together? It ain't going to happen. Let's continue.
Hear, O ye children, the discipline of the mouth. He that keepeth it shall never be taken in his lips.
Read on.
The sinner shall be left in his foolishness.
And that's why I wanted to go here.
Yeah.
It says the person that can't control their mouth or lacks discipline, the end result is, or rather the end result of their foolishness is the lack of connections, the lack of respect, the lack of relationships. We're going to prove in a second. I'm just prepping right now. What it means to be left in their foolishness, the results of your life will show your foolishness. The results of your lack of connection will show you're foolish. The results of the distrust, the awkwardness amongst people are the result of your foolishness. Keep reading.
The sinner shall be left in his foolishness. Both the evil speaker and the proud shall fall thereby.
It says the evil speaker and the proud shall fall thereby. There's a reason why they're grouped together. Hold this real quick. It's the next chapter over. Ecclesiastes 22, in verse 21 through 22. Because what the Most High is showing is the lack of discipline in your mouth is worse than having death fights.
So it was classic. It was 22 and what?
22 and 21, verse 22. It says, however, the death fight, you can come back from that level of foolishness and sin. What you can't come back from is a person that can't control the mouth. They can't control the wounds they make with their tongue. Read verse 21 real quick.
Ecclesiasticus 22 and 21. Though thou drewest a sword at thy friend, yet despair not, for there may be a returning to favor.
He says you can even draw a sword at someone, and you still have a slight chance of reconciling that relationship. But what's hard to come back from, read on.
If thou hast opened thy mouth against thy friend, fear not.
He said there's a way to communicate. There's a way to check. There's a way to admonish. There's a way to instruct somebody, and you don't have to fear losing that person. Like Dariad said, we have no friends. That's true if you communicate wrong.
Yep.
But if you're in a spiritual environment and the communication ends up being an uplifting conversation. Yes, it might have been harsh. Yes, it might have been the cold, hard truth. But they know, and you know, there was a pure intention. It was love. It was true consideration. That's why they'll keep coming back to you for the same counsel.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they know, it's going to be harsh. It might hurt my feelings, but I know he means the best for me.
Okay.
If you communicate in that sense, with that spirit, there's no fear there. I don't have to worry about rubbing this person wrong and they hate me forever. Or they don't want anything to do with me anymore. But there's another type of communication that ends up in foolishness, like we just read. Keep reading.
If thou hast opened thy mouth against thy friend, fear not, for there may be a reconciliation, except for upbraiding.
This is upbraiding, harsh, negative, condescending conversation. That is in a nutshell what upbraiding is. When I talk to someone, it's only to destroy. It's only to tear down. It's only to make you feel small.
Or you communicate, and because you're not checking the intention behind what you say and how you say it, then it comes off destructive. There's a lot of times people don't even realize how destructive their words are, because they're just speaking from the hip. If you don't take that time to filter your thoughts, then all of a sudden the words will become upbraiding.
Well, that's how we get to the next one.
Okay, there you go.
It goes into different categories.
Okay.
The upbraiding is someone who it charges someone wrong, but disgracefully.
Mm-hmm.
I'm disgracefully talking down.
This is out of pocket. Okay.
I'm just out of pocket. I'm just straight. I'm opprobrious. Is another way of saying it.
Opprobrious, yeah.
Straightly offensive.
What's the next one?
Read on.
Except for upbraiding or pride.
Or the conversations, like what we're saying is, because I got pride behind what I'm saying. Yes, the intention might have been to instruct you in what you're doing, but my pride behind, whether it be I think I'm superior to you, because I think I'm superior, or I think you should have already got this already. I've taught you this 100 times, and you're still not getting it right. Now my pride's getting involved. Or the fact I got to slow my life down now. I got to slow the route down. I got to slow the day down, because what you're doing is affecting the entire process. Now pride's getting involved. Now I'm teetering in that line of too overboard, of offensive, to where I can't come back from that anymore. Keep reading.
Or disclosing of secrets, or a treacherous wound. For these things every friend will depart.
So the Most High makes it very clear of the type of communication, or evil communications, that will leave a man in foolishness. It's the overboard, upbraiding spirit that has no filter, no control. Just going to say the first thing that flies off his mouth, and if it offends somebody, it don't matter. Catch a stray, doesn't matter. Or it's the person that is in their pride, is not being considerate of who they're talking to, is not being considerate of the situation, the circumstance. Now I'm rubbing it the wrong way. Or it's the person that's upbraiding secrets. I know a lot about your personal life, so I'm going to throw your personal life back at you.
Happens a lot.
Because now I know that's going to be a wound now.
That happens a lot.
Oh, you're sleeping because you can't handle your house right. You sleep in the truck because you ain't taking care of your kids right.
Yep.
Your rib ain't in order. I'm throwing low blows. I'm just taking examples. But I'm throwing low blows that I've heard in the past. People were saying, you're throwing low blows because you're trying to get a reaction. It has nothing to do with encouragement. You're not trying to walk them through how to do it. You're not trying to. You're not
You just
trying to
want to
bring
tear
them
down.
up. I'm just destroying you at this point.
Yeah.
Because you affected me in one way or another.
Happens a
Bring up
lot.
secrets, and it goes hand in hand with a treacherous wound.
and this is and I'm just trying to wrap it up and get back
Yeah.
to getting late. But this is why these classes are important, to teach us to think before we speak,
Yeah.
to teach us to think about the intentions behind what we're doing before we do it. To really think about why we're doing what we're doing before we go and start destroying lives. Because when you start sitting back here and teaching the Bible, you're opening up a door to where you can truly inspire people or you can destroy them.
Yeah.
You got to be conscious of that. So let's get back to 1 Corinthians 6 and verse 3.
1 Corinthians 63. Know ye not that we shall judge angels? How much more things that pertain to this life?
He's letting us know we were created to serve the Most High and earn the right to judge angels. How much more are we supposed to sit back here and learn how to judge things now on earth, in our life now? We're going to have to learn to collect our minds and get ourselves together and learn how to properly counsel if we think we're going to be able to counsel and lead our nation down the line. Counsel, we're supposed to be judging angels. How the hell are we going to judge angels if we don't know how to keep a camp together? If we don't know how to make sure we counsel and establish judgment in our own cities, in our own homes. Read Matthew 25 and 21.
Come.
Matthew chapter 25 and verse 21. His Lord said unto him, Well done, thou good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord.
We can't be ruler over many things unless we learn how to be faithful over the few we have in front of us. And what that means, we have to learn how to be faithful over basic communication, basic counsel, basic judgment. We have to fix these things now if we have plans to lead and counsel down the line. What that means is, after every time you deal with brothers, when you're counseling, when you're teaching, they might not agree, but there should be the spirit of peace there. The person that you're dropping this message on should know it's love, should know the intention is right, and there should be nothing but good that comes out of those interactions. I see too many times we interact with each other and there's still tension amongst each other. Anger and tension and stress. These things need to get fixed. Let that verse go and go to Philippians chapter 3 and verse 20.
Come.
Philippians chapter 3 and verse 20.
Philippians chapter 3 and verse 20 reads, For our conversation is in heaven.
Well, what is he saying? What does that even mean? That's my point. Our conversation has to be spiritual. Our conversation, how we think, should be spiritual and clarity, detached from emotion. Well, we're dealing with our people every day. He said our conversation should already be in heaven. Yes, that.
It shouldn't be earthly. It should be sensual.
It shouldn't be earthy and sensual. Exactly. Our conversation should be heavenly. And if we're supposed to work on a heavenly conversation, what does that mean?
You got scriptures in your mind.
And the message should be pure. Listen, I know if we're honest, how many times do we counsel and we're wrestling nothing but thoughts and anger inside of us? We're wrestling, I don't want to be here. I don't want to hear this. I don't want to have to deal with this. I really don't want to see this person right now. I know these are real feelings that Israel operates with, or I think this person is fake. This person's lying in my face. This person's lying out of their teeth. That still doesn't change the fact that our conversation should be heavenly or of heaven. It doesn't matter what you think a person is, what you feel about a person. That has nothing to do with your responsibility to deliver the word and the message of the Most High purely. As pure as possible. Have you read the scripture, I think it's in Psalms, where it says the word of the Most High was purified like 7 times? I think it was 12 and 6. It was purified like silver 7 times. I think it's Psalms 12 and 6. Why am I saying that?
Yeah, it is.
Read that real quick.
Psalms chapter 12, verse 6. For the words of the Most High are pure words, as silver tried in the furnace of earth.
But what do? The word of the Most High is pure words, but we dirty it up with our emotions. We muddy the message up that's pure with our anger, with our emotions, with our violence, with our secret intentions. We destroy the message. If the message is pure, we defile the pureness of the message by interjecting our anger, our disdain, that part of us that looks down on the weak. So we're really corrupting the message. In order to keep the message pure, our thoughts have to be pure. Our intentions have to be pure. How we deliver the message has to be pure. We're just showing the responsibility that we all have to make sure that this message is conveyed in the purest form so that the people can receive it in the purest form. What you going to say?
I was gonna say, that makes Titus 1 and 15 make way more sense now.
What is that? Say it again.
Titus 1:15.
Yeah, to the pure? Yeah.
With the B portion and
Yeah.
the A and the B portion.
Okay. Read it real quick.
Titus 1:15. Unto the pure, all things are pure. But unto them that are defiled and unbelieving is their mind and conscience.
Nothing is pure.
Nothing is pure. But even their mind and conscience is defiled.
And that means the message is defiled too. Because when your thoughts are impure, your message is impure. You ever notice when you're in the wrong spirit that the word doesn't connect to the people you're trying to deliver it to? It doesn't hit. It doesn't connect. If you want a greater opportunity and chance for the message to connect to who you're trying to talk to, take away the negative out of your thoughts. Eliminate that. Then I bet you $1,000,000 the message that you're bringing to the table will actually hit the way it's intended to. Yes, sir?
And then you'll get the results you're looking for.
And then you'll get the results. But you know what the problem is? The lesson is, if you want good results, you got to purge that filth in you so that the word of the Most High, which is already purified, can stay purified.
Take effect. Oh.
It won't take effect because there's so much crap in us. This is why we'll sit back here in 100-degree weather quoting scriptures, but the vibe ain't right. How come the vibe ain't right? You're out here on the trucks. And nothing but Bible verses are being taught. How can that be the case? You work with somebody every day. The only thing that's being brought out is Bible verses, and the connections are still piss poor. Am I right or wrong? Does that not happen? Because of nothing but negative in the thoughts, in our intentions, while we're delivering these purified messages. It'd be the same thing at home. I counseled her. Well, what kind of spirit was you in? You got to serve me, woman. Listen, I don't think that's the spirit of Christ when you say it that way. When you sit back here and there's sarcasm and anger in there. Is that?
To be blunt about it, what it is I think partially what it is speak for myself, right? When you're in that situation, I'm in that situation, maybe there's some things, bro, maybe I just ain't got over yet. How about that? And maybe because there's that thing I ain't got over yet.
And then you can't counsel.
Right, the best thing would be just to shut my mouth.
I'm going to tell you what verse 4 says. Let's go to 1 Corinthians 6 and 4. Because that's where we're at now. Because this is the verse that gives the answer to that statement. Listen to this one. This blew me away when I finally understood what this verse 4 meant.
1 Corinthians 6 and 4. If then ye have judgment.
Meaning, if you judge, if you counsel with people, read on.
If then ye have judgments of things pertaining to this life.
So if you're judging in the spirit of a worldly person, if you're judging in the spirit of a person that has ties to this life, I'm going to say it again. If you're judging in the spirit of a person that has ties to this worldly life, Read on.
Set them to judge.
Meaning, to set them means to appoint. If you're the head, and what you do is you're teaching, and you still got worldly intentions and worldly emotions in you, he says then appoint them, read on.
Set them to judge who are least esteemed in the church.
You might as well bring the most hated, the most non-skilled spiritual person in the camp and let them run the camp. Let the lowest ranking guy run the roost with the white patch, because you're not capable to do the job yourself. What he's saying is, if you can't counsel in the spirit of operating like the world, he said, if that's what's inside of you and you're judging situations, then you might as well put the lowest ranking man in the camp. Let the trooper run the council. This is what Paul is saying. Let the trooper run the council if you're counseling with ill intent and worldly thoughts behind you. That sounds crazy, doesn't it? But this is what Paul is saying.
He's trying to say we can't. Obviously, then that's technically the most looks at us.
That's my point. He's like, if you're counseling and teaching with emotion and negative outlook, and you're not looking at things purely, he said, you might as well bring the lowest ranking man in here and deal with counseling.
Because at least he doesn't know any better. But you do.
That's my point. But he says, either way, they're both going to be destructive counsels. Yeah. This is what they're still going to be destructive counsels, either or.
Same result.
So you might as well bring the lowest man in the totem pole and let him counsel. Because they're both going to be bad counsels. Read that verse again. That blew me away.
1 Corinthians 6:4. If then ye have judgment of things pertaining to this life.
Because he's talking about the ones that are supposed to judge angels. But the ones that are getting prepped to judge angels, if you got judgments of things that pertain to this life, that means if your mind is tied into the world, you got worldly angles, you got worldly things you're contending with when you're counseling, emotion, pride, anger, hate. If that's what's inside of you, then what? Set them. Set them means to appoint them. Read on.
Set them to judge who are least esteemed in the church.
Those guys that are thinking carnally, have those guys pick the youngest, the most less esteemed guys. The guy you know can't counsel. Who's in the building you know can't counsel? Pick him over you. Because you shouldn't be in that position. And I'm going to explain the next verse. I'm going to explain why that's true. Read on.
Verse 5. I speak to your shame.
I speak to your shame. This is an indictment on you. And I'm bringing this thing up to you because you might as well have a lower ranking man counsel because you shouldn't be in that position. He's explaining to us the importance and how serious it is to have the ability to establish judgment while not wrestling with things pertaining to this life inside of you. If you have all of this negative in you, all of this hatred, and you can't control how you look at the people around you, you shouldn't be counseling somebody else. It's better to have a young man counsel than to have you counsel and be responsible for anything. Hold this and go to Mark chapter 4 and 19.
Mark chapter 4.
And this is why Mark 4 and 19 explains why this person that's caught into these emotions and this life and the things you want shouldn't be counseling. Read on.
Mark chapter 4, verse 19. And the cares of this world, and the deceitfulness of riches, and the lusts of other things in entering in, choke the word, and it becometh unfruitful.
The word becomes unfruitful, but the word is supposed to be pure. The word is supposed to be purified 7 times, like silver. But he says that negative that's in us chokes the message we're trying to deliver. It destroys the message we're trying to deliver.
Because the vessel's not pure.
That's the point I'm trying to say. Because what's inside of us is impure, it destroys the pure message. It chokes the pure message.
It's like a person playing saxophone. He's playing a real cheap saxophone. Beautiful song, but you got such an inferior instrument, the song doesn't sound right.
Good.
It spits out of tune.
And this is what he's explaining. We have to learn how to counsel, but in the spirit of fixing what's inside of you. If you can learn that, you can be of value. But he's like, listen, but if you have all this crap in you, you're choking the word. What does it mean by choking the word? You're choking the word because when people see how negative you are and they're hearing the message, now it's harder to cleave to the message. It's harder to believe the word. Now your conduct and your inconsistency and negative makes it hard for people to embrace this word, to cleave to these scriptures. This is why it's so important that when we start teaching and counseling and leading, what's inside of us is clean. So the message can remain clean. The message can remain pure. You and I know how hard it is to lead people when they see hypocrisy in you. Am I right or wrong? When people see hypocrisy in you, it is hard to focus on Bible verses. Listen, you can pull verses all damn day long, but all you see is the BS. So guess what's happening? The words are being choked out of you. Because you see this person's talking it, but he ain't living it. And every word that he's saying, you hear the information is true, but I'm not hearing you. I'm not buying you. So it goes back to verse 4 in 1 Corinthians 6 and 4, where Paul is like, listen, man, if you got the word in you, you got this foolishness in you, have a young man counsel. He says that should be an indictment on how behind you are. It should be a shame because you should sit back here and you shouldn't be wrestling with this negative that you're wrestling with. But you are. Does that make sense? Are we clear on this? So, did we finish Mark 4:19?
Yes,
let that go. Let's go back to verse 4 in 1 Corinthians 6.
1 Corinthians 6 and 4. And then ye have judgments of things pertaining to this life. Set them to judge who are least esteemed in the church.
Read on.
I speak to your shame.
He said, I speak to your shame, because you should be ashamed that you're counseling. And you should have worldly intentions, worldly emotions, worldly feelings flowing through you. Read on.
I speak to your shame. Is it so that there is not a wise man amongst you?
You see how it makes sense now? There's nobody around that's wise. There's nobody in Corinth that judges properly. And as he judges and counsels, works on what's inside of him. I don't think as young counselors and young leaders, brothers understand that counseling is just as much about pulling the right verse to correct as it is about making sure your thoughts and intentions and how you look at things is pure. I don't think we understand that enough. I don't think we take that into account enough. That for every message you're dropping, every ability to see the worst in somebody, we can beam in on that. But can we sit back here and as we're beaming in on what a person needs to get fixed, am I attacking what's inside of me that could be a possible impediment to the person I'm trying to teach them the message? Do we take that time to think about that? More times than not, the answer is no, huh?
Does that mean that whatever's going on inside of me becomes a stumbling block to the sheep?
That's where it says it chokes the word. You're becoming its own, like because the word can't penetrate the way it's supposed to. The intention behind the word, listen, too many times, generals and leaders are given too much credit for developing people. You know the secret to developing Israelites? You know the magical secret to teaching and leading and being an example and being a good shepherd? the secret sauce of being a good teacher and a leader is to teach the scriptures with pure intention and get the hell out the way. And not let your fallibilities get in the way of the word. That's the secret sauce. People want to make it deeper than what it is. It ain't that deep. It ain't that deep. We're not the smartest pants people on the earth. It ain't that deep. The answer is, can you purely, with the right intention, deliver the message and stay on top of your example good enough so that people have time to see the message in a pure light? Can you get your example out of the way? Your bad example out the way. So they can see a good example. Now the word can start to work on their minds. That's how you teach. Yes.
Isn't it the Lord anyway?
That's my point. It ain't us.
Yeah,
All we're supposed to do is water. He says, one man planted, another man watereth, but the Most High provides the increase. But the problem is the Most High can't provide the increase because the planter didn't plant it deep enough. The water only wants to water on Wednesdays. That's the problem. The water don't water enough. Or they keep the water on too long. I'm messing around.
Or the fountain's not pure.
Well, yeah, exactly. So you see the point?
Right.
The teacher's job is to deliver the message purely, consistently, and remove bad examples out the way so people can sit back and allow the Most High through their life to direct them back to the Most High. 1 second. I can't count on my hands how many times you'll give a person a counsel. They won't listen. They'll go about their life, and you'll go about their life. As long as they don't see flaw in you, then what ends up happening is life starts to teach them to say, hey, you should listen to that counsel. What that brother told you was correct. And then in the midst of you stumbling and getting stung, you remember that conversation. Yeah. And then what do? I have to go back to class, dog. I was tripping. That brother was right. But you know what gets in the way of that? Our poor examples. Our inconsistency in our conduct. When we're inconsistent, then people see our inconsistency and they don't have the opportunity to allow the Most High in life to direct you back to the spot you're supposed to be in. Our job is to teach, lead, be a good example, and let the Most High do the rest. The problem with us, we try to control too many things.
Yeah.
We try to control too much, control when you pick up, when you learn, when you listen. We don't control nothing but this. Can we teach on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday and be a good example? And not be inconsistent with our conduct. If we can do that, now the Most High can intercede and help out. That's it. It ain't no deal. We're no greater than that. Neither should we get any more credit than that. Because that's all it is.
And men really want glory for the product. Mm-hmm. But the product is the word. The people are producing off what the word is inspiring them to do.
God, not me, not him, not anybody. What we're supposed to do is not mess up and get in the way of y'all trying to grow.
Not being chocolate.
Con. That's reading that later. So, read verse 5.
1 Corinthians 6 and 5. I speak to your shame. Is it not so that there is not a wise man amongst you? No, not one that shall be able to judge between his brethren.
He says he can't find anybody that can judge amongst his brother. Because everybody's caught up into their life. Everybody's caught up in their emotions, their feelings, what they think others think of them. Yeah. It's a constant issue of not the judge not clearly seeing things the right way. Hold this and go to Isaiah 59.
You saying like 11 jumps in the council zone?
All the time. 11 always jumps in the council zone. Isaiah 59 verse 4 and 9 through 10.
Isaiah 59 verse 4. None calleth for justice.
Nobody's calling for justice because everybody's caught up in their own life. Read on.
nor any pleadeth for truth.
Nobody's fighting to do things the right way. Read on.
They trust in vanity and
Mhm.
speak lies.
Con.
They can
And lies is just simply
They
opinion.
lie to exactly.
Because the Bible says all men are liars.
Yeah.
That means all men have opinions.
Con.
So when brothers are lying, brothers are interjecting their opinion. They're not doing things based off the scripture and what the scripture is condoning and
Yeah.
directing.
All facts. Continue. Isaiah. Yeah, keep going.
They conceive mischief and
Mhm.
bring forth iniquity.
Read verse 9.
Isaiah 59, verse 9. It says, therefore is judgment far from us.
He says, judgment is far from us because we keep interjecting ourselves in the mix. We keep lying ourselves. So now judgment's not there. Read on.
Neither doth justice overtake us. We wait for light.
He says, we wait for light. Read on.
But behold obscurity.
The problem is he keeps letting us know that light and judgment go hand in hand.
Wow. They're together.
Light and judgment go hand in hand. Without judgment, there's no light, and we're operating in obscurity,
Or darkness.
in darkness. Because we're going to read in verse 10 where it says, now we're groping again.
Oh, man.
Now we're blind. Now we're just hoping to touch something. And we have no
Oh,
vision.
wow.
There's no vision because there's no judgment. There's no judgment because we put too much of ourself in the equation. Our emotions, our feelings, our bad judgment, the lies we tell ourselves. The lies we tell ourselves cloud our judgment and keep us in darkness. Read on.
It says, but behold obscurity for brightness, but we walk in darkness.
We walk in darkness. Read on.
We grope for the wall like the blind.
We grope for the wall like the blind. Why? Because there's no judgment. There's no judgment because nobody is trying to stand up for what's right. Everybody's focused on what they can get, the corners they can cut to get the things they want, versus doing things the right way.
And also, would you say that that negative or that emotion within us has us blind as well?
But that's what it is. The emotion,
Yeah.
the negative intentions, the lying that we have in ourselves. This is what keeps us dark. It keeps us in darkness.
Right? It keeps me distant from the spirit, so to speak.
Yeah.
Because I'm not able to connect. I'm not able to relate. My eyes are open.
And you can't even see what the problem is. You can't even see why the Most High ain't with you. Why the Most High ain't working with you?
That emotion got the eyes shut.
Con.
Awesome.
Because your eyes are shut. Because they're consumed with what you want. And not about judgment. The only thing that should matter is doing things the right way. Whether you get something out the deal or you don't get something out the deal. What you want don't matter. What's it?
Well, it says the groping of the walls, walking as the blind. Would the light be also considered they're lacking in the word?
Yes.
Look lacking in the word.
Lacking in the word. The light being
Psalms 119 and 105 says the word. Psalms 119 and 105 says the word gives light to the feet.
Yeah, it's the word, but you can't clearly see the word because you're blinded by your desires.
Because wisdom will enter into a malicious spirit.
Yeah, God. So it's about if judgment isn't your number one focus, and if we keep including what we feel and what we want to do, now we're blinded. Now we're in darkness. Now we're groping, looking for a wall for some stability. Why does a person grope? Why does the blind grope for a wall? And they're trying to find some type of stability.
So something you can stand on so you don't fall on your face.
That's the point.
Right.
But this is what happens to us when we are clouded by our emotions and our feelings while trying to simultaneously counsel. Okay, read verse 10.
Isaiah 59 and 10. We grope for the wall like the blind, and we grope as if we had no eyes. We stumble at noonday, as in the night.
And it tells you that this same story was kind of explained in Deuteronomy 28.
Yes.
How because we chose not to follow the laws, we chose not to keep the standard, we chose not to keep judgment as what is our foundation. We were going to be groping at noonday, even in the world. This is what happened to us in the world. We had no anchor. What does judgment provide for you? An anchor.
Yeah.
You know why judgment is so important? Judgment reminds you to stop making it about you.
Facts.
That's why judgment is so important. Judgment is supposed to be there so that you're shown, listen, you might want this. You might be trying to push for this. You might be trying to drive for this. But judgment reminds you, hey, it's not about what you want. What does the scripture say you're supposed to do in this situation? This is why judgment has to be the base of all of us, the foundation of all of us, because without judgment, I'm going to always think I'm right.
Mm-hmm.
Without judgment, everything's going to be right in my eyes. And you can't live like that. You have to have the ability to have something else tether you so that my decisions are predicated off of judgment versus how I feel. Judgment keeps you away from what? Delusions.
That makes perfect sense.
Judgment keeps you from delusions. What's right? What's the scripture say is right in this situation? That keeps me away from these fantasies in my head about what I think should be, what I think shouldn't be, how I think I'm wrong, how I don't think I'm wrong. And this keeps, when judgment is the priority, now I'm walking in light. Now I can clearly see where I'm going, and I clearly see where I came from. Is what I'm saying making sense? Okay. Did you finish verse 10? No, you didn't. Yeah.
We stumble at noonday as in the night. We are in desolate places as dead men.
And this is a lot of times we're in desolate places as dead men when we have no hope. We have no clarity. We have no vision. But we lack vision because we lack judgment. Judgment has to be our anchor. Judgment has to be what we always stick to when we're counseling, when we're looking at our own life.
It makes perfect sense. You can't really argue against this topic. You know, say it's not about judgment. It's not about the scripture. It's about how I feel. We can't even argue that point and sound like we know what the hell we're talking about.
God.
And of course, it's not about me.
God. And this is why when Paul starts to explain about what leadership is supposed to be, it gets even more clear. It gets even more clear when we're trying to establish judgment. And I'm just going to let it go. We're going to go on it because as we keep reading what Paul explains, it just gets clearer and clearer and clearer. Let's continue. Let's go back to Corinthians. Chapter 6 and verse... Huh?
Verse 6 now.
Yes, I want verse 6.
1 Corinthians 6:6. But brother, go to law with brother, and that before the unbeliever.
And he says, but because we have so much bad counsel in us, because we have such negative intentions when we're counseling with one another, the answer is always, the verdict is always to sit back here and go to counsel or to get counsel from outside sources or to not trust in the counselors that are right in front of us.
Okay, can I give an example of that?
Okay.
Oh, this is a basic nationalistic example. Child support court.
Yeah.
Best example you can find. I think one of the best examples you can find is because we can't get along and we're too emotional and we're not going to have practice good faith or be fair with each other, then, let's go get the judge to go ahead and say when we go visit the child, let's put on paper and say what's the exact amount of money is going to be set up for the child support.
Yep.
And let's go ahead and make sure the penal code system in Texas, we have to go to this child support area and have to have a intermediate person examine how our procedure is to distribute time with the children. We have to have a whole person that doesn't even know us, not even a Jew.
Yep.
And you can't stop it either. Because really, it's not you versus the woman. It's you as the husband versus the state. So although the woman want to stop it, I don't want to cause child support anymore. We're good now.
Nope.
The state's going to keep having you pay that money.
The case takes it.
Because
the state takes the case.
Because y'all couldn't operate with equity.
Yep.
And okay, cool. This ain't work out, but I'm gonna make sure you have $350 a month, whatever it's gonna be. and we'll make sure we just.
That's on the low end, bro.
That's a great day, but I'm just saying, whatever's gonna be.
This is gonna be in them 5s and 6s, bro.
That was the old numbers, right?
That's the old numbers.
Old numbers.
That was when it was $7 minimum wage.
Back to minimum wage prices.
And if you don't pay it, you going to jail.
But because we just can't.
They'll let it stack high, a little high. They'll let it stack a little bit, then they'll come get you.
Yeah, that's federal.
Yeah, you're gonna get a couple thousand racked up. Then they're gonna say, "Hey, pay it tomorrow."
Oh.
That's when they get you.
Well, because Israel can't operate and negotiate with each other, then we got to bring the white man in.
Yep.
He's gonna get a whole bunch of money off the top. I'll do it for you.
Yeah.
I don't like the justice system.
You got court fees. You gotta pay court fees, back pay. Everybody's getting money out.
Everybody benefits because we can't do proper judgment.
God. And I'm gonna tell you this. Don't forget the message and the point in this chapter is about the judge, the leader, right? And when he's gonna sit back here and explain, he's like brother against brother is going to law still, even though we know right from wrong. And we understand judgment's supposed to be the right way. Look at how Paul explains in verse 7 how we're supposed to neutralize disputes, how we're supposed to neutralize and operate properly in counsel. Read verse 7.
Verse 7. Now, therefore, there is utterly a
Now, what I am going to go, I might go back because I wanted to kind of explain, like in verse 6. I just don't know if there's going to be time to go focus on that and then go back. But what I wanted to go in verse 6 when it says, but brother goeth to law with brother, and that before the unbelievers, it's a reminder that we had financial disputes in Nehemiah chapter 5. Nehemiah chapter 5, we had financial disputes because we were all coming together and we all stopped our work on our crops to rebuild the wall in Jerusalem. And the poor who left the farming and started working on the crops, working on the wall, they needed food. So they went to the princes and leadership of the nation. And they sat back here and gave them food and gave them some money to sustain themselves. And when they couldn't pay it back, they couldn't pay because it was working on the what? The wall. The princes started sitting back here and taking their daughters and selling them to slavery. Wow. Taking their sons and selling them to slavery. And then still didn't try to continue to give them corn and just basic food supplies to sustain themselves.
But they couldn't do it because they weren't working a job.
They didn't give it to them. They owed the money. And by the letter of the law, you owe me money. How are you going to sit back here and pay my money back? I'm going to take your kids and they're going to work off the debt. So what Nehemiah was like, bro, what are y'all doing? We sat back here and had been buying back Jews from slavery and bringing them back home to Jerusalem, and you're bringing them back to slavery again?
Right.
He's like, I'll buy their debt off. I'll pay their debt off. Nehemiah said, I'll sit back here for everything you took from them. What do they owe? I'll pay it. Bring their children back. Stop being this niggas, Zach.
Dog, yeah.
This is dogs, Zach. They're just going to sit back here and put our people in slavery because they don't have enough money to pay, and you know why they don't have the money? You know why they don't have the money to pay? It's because they're going all in on this wall. That's still our people dealing with judgment in a poor way. Because all they care about is their bottom line.
Being capitalistic.
Exactly.
And
we were doing that before Esau was doing that. Don't forget that. We did it first.
Doesn't Scripture say you're not supposed to commit usury on your own?
Yes, and they were doing that. And then where's the mercy if they need more time to pay the debt off? Can we secure the nation first?
Before it's about your pockets and what you need.
They were putting children in slavery, and the wall wasn't even finished yet. Like, what kind of craziness is this? But this is the mind of our people. Yes, sir.
And I think you were bringing up at that point when we were in that 7th class Nehemiah, they were taking their land out.
They were taking land. Yep. Then they were taking their children.
Yep.
Just because they fed them 6 to 8 months worth of corn.
Well, that's called deep selfishness.
That's deep hatred. Yeah. And he's like, this is what happens. We don't have the capacity to talk things out and work on things amongst each other. But verse 7 is going to explain why we lack the capacity to work things out amongst brothers. Because when you have two people that have a justifiable gripe, or you have one person that's offended and another person did the offending, something has to happen. Verse 7 is going to explain it.
1 Corinthians 6 and 7. Now therefore, there is utterly a fault among you.
He says there is utterly a fault amongst leaders. Whether it's the head of the household, head of the camp, captain over men, the ranking man in the situation. He says there is a fault amongst the ranking person in the situation. Read on.
Why do ye not rather take wrong? Why do you not rather suffer yourselves to be defrauded?
And that's the problem. He says in order to be a proper judge, you have to be willing to take the loss. If you're in a marriage, there's a lot of times you can sit back here and pull the scripture about how the woman is wrong and all this is, but sometimes can you just sit back here, take the step back for the sake of the household operating smooth that day? You always got to be the lion. And that's the reason Moses said, don't be a lion in your own house. Sometimes, can you just take the defraud? Can you just do what's needed for the house to operate? And amongst brothers, can the leader just be the person that brings the peace? Or does he have to prove that he's right all the time? The reality of what it takes to lead and to have conflict resolution. The ranking man has to be the one that's defrauded. For instance, we just talked about in Nehemiah chapter 5. What was the solution for you had the impoverished people needed food to eat.
Versus the princes.
And the princes had the money. They loaned the money out, and the poor people couldn't pay it back. What was the way that this council situation was supposed to be fixed? The ranking people, the princes, had to be defrauded. Yeah. They didn't want to be defrauded, and they were holding the poor to task. So guess what? Somebody else ended up being defrauded. It was Nehemiah. Nehemiah took the cost out of his own pocket to pay these princes back. He just said, listen, I'll pay what's owed, but cut off this damn interest you got on these people. Where is your heart at? And they said, okay, what's we won't do that. We won't do that.
We said, okay.
We won't do it for now. We'll not put interest today on you.
I'm satisfied because I got my money.
That's the point.
And so I won't do it again.
Yeah.
As long as I get paid.
But my fingers are cross-eyed.
Yeah, because listen, you're cool because you got what you want.
Good.
But
somebody had to be defrauded. Yeah. What's the point in conflict resolution? Somebody has to take low.
Yeah.
And he's saying the judge should be the one that takes low. That's how you solve not having to go to Esau for every damn thing.
Talk bad about the white man, but we gotta go for the help.
Because Jake don't want to back down.
Yeah.
Jake don't want to take a loss. We don't want to be defrauded. I see it every day in class. When brothers, or at the zone, brothers want to sit back here and just take low. There's just two people just going back and forth. They just keep going back and forth. Why do people keep going back and forth? Because nobody wants to do what? Nobody wants to just take low and be humble. I see it amongst brothers. I see it at home. Nobody wants to take low. And this is why problems can't be solved amongst the body. This is why problems can't be solved amongst brothers, amongst sisters, in the nation. But in order to take low, you can't be about your pride and your ego. Mm. If you can learn that sometimes, in order for the younger person to get the lesson, the older person has to take low. And that's the greatest lesson you can teach a young person. The scripture says, answer a fool according to his folly. Then the next verse says, do not answer a fool according to his folly. Because there's certain times you got to go back and forth to explain a message, and there's other times that taking low is a solution. If you want to help somebody out and develop somebody, but what do? Our pride gets in the way. I ain't backing down because he ain't backing down. I ain't backing down because she ain't backing down. That gets nowhere. What is 1 Corinthians 6 about? Two people can't get and work out issues. There's no good counselor in the body. There was no good counselor in Corinth. There was no good counselor in Corinth because the ranking person or the ranking persons didn't want to be defrauded out of a situation. That's why they kept going to court. They went to Esau's court because they was going to get theirs. They was going to get what's owed to them. They weren't going to take a loss. But this is the issue that we have in counsel now. We lack the ability to sit back here and win a person because we're more focused on proving myself right than taking low, being defrauded to win a brother. This is what kills us, huh? This is what shows that we're not capable of operating with judgment and equity. He's letting us know sometimes the most equitable, just thing is for you to take the hit. For the sake of peace. For the sake of brotherhood. For the sake of sisterhood. But that's too much like right. And it doesn't feel good to take low. It doesn't feel good to be defrauded. Who wants to hear that verse? Paul, how come y'all not willing to be defrauded? Read verse 7 again.
Verse 7. Now therefore, there is utterly a fault among you, because ye go to law one with another.
He said, there is utterly a fault amongst you, because you go to law with one another versus working things out in-house. Read on.
Why do ye not rather take wrong?
Why don't somebody just apologize? Why do you got to go to the law? Why can't one person apologize and just be the bigger man or the better sister? Is that?
Probably because one of them was still minded and then the other one was the spirit.
Yeah, because it's all pride.
Pride.
Because pride is more important than seeking peace. If a person is offended by what you say, why can't you just say Salakia? Versus pulling Bible verses to why you're justified to be rude. We do it all the time.
We'll do it in front of Jake that knows we're Bible.
Con! I'll sit back here. If I said the wrong thing, just apologize about it. Versus sitting back here trying to prove and justify why I'm okay to take this position. And wonder why the most I don't work with us. Read verse 7 again.
Verse 7. Now therefore there is utterly a fault among you, because ye go to law one with another. Why do you not rather take wrong? Why do you not rather suffer yourselves to be defrauded?
Because we don't want to take a loss. We say we're about serving the Most High and reading the Bible, but really we don't want to be defrauded. We don't want to lose. We'd rather another person be defrauded. We'd rather another person feel bad than I have to take low. If we learn this to put ourselves last, we solve most of the problems and disputes we have amongst brothers. If I sit back here and I'm counseling with a brother, and a brother doesn't like how I delivered a message to him or her, I can say, yeah, I'm justified to speak that way. Or I can say, you know what?
I gotta make it that good.
Is there really a problem with me changing how I talk to this person for their sake? If it offends them that I speak this way, then let me curve it. What's the sin in that?
No sin. No sin.
That's the problem. But I want to hold my way and justify why I didn't do nothing. Because I just don't want to change. And the light's not in me.
I remember I got counseled like that years ago, bro. Put this brother up at.
The tall guy, right?
Yeah, the tall
Yeah.
man. And I'm like, bro, I'm teaching the scriptures. cussing him out at the same time. And he takes me to counsel.
Yeah.
And like everything I said was right.
Yeah.
Well, he just wants to harp on the cuss word. I said, okay, no. He said, to stop cussing out. To stop cussing, just teach him about the cuss words.
Yeah.
I said, okay, no problem.
But you didn't like that. You're angry.
I did it. I taught the word, and he still did what he wanted to do anyway. I didn't get nothing out of it. He did what he wanted to do either way. But the lesson I learned was that it's right to adjust.
And it's not about what you're going to get out the deal.
It can't just be, okay, this is how I'm going to do it, and you got to take it or leave it. We have to have the ability to curb, to adjust, to tweak. Because then that's what the Most High Christ wants.
If we're supposed to be proper judges.
And it doesn't matter.
If we're supposed to lead, if we're supposed to be a reflection of this pure word.
Yeah.
And if the message is supposed to be pure, then I got to make all the adjustments necessary for the message to be established pure.
But this the kicker though. This is like 15 whatever years ago, 15, 18 whatever years ago. But if the spirit doesn't adjust like you want to adjust, without the expectation is I don't cuss no more when I counsel you.
Yeah.
So you better make these adjustments.
No, see, that means it wasn't the intention wasn't pure. And that's the point. That means the intention wasn't pure behind the change.
Listen. I changed, and I gave the same message. And I didn't cuss you. You're not getting no more cuss words from me because you told on me. But now there's an expectation. This person, they better follow the counsel.
Why does people got better do anything?
No, but that's the expectation. Because I'm uncomfortable, now you better make this adjustment.
Now you better be uncomfortable too.
Yeah. We're both going to be uncomfortable. And how about it was just as for the counsel?
But didn't the scripture say we're supposed to freely give?
Yeah.
We're supposed to freely give, freely make adjustments. As freely you receive, freely give.
True. It's free giving, but this is the thing.
There's no buts to it. There's no buts.
No, but this is the thing. Wanting to control the outcome is where that demon comes in.
Then it's not free. That's the point. One to control I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
But one to control the outcome, that means the message isn't free.
Yeah.
That means what you're doing for the next person isn't free no more. Now it comes with the cost. Now it comes with the
expectation.
An expectation. He's trying to show us how to deal with one another so we can stay justified. We can stay pure. And we learn how to stay on top of us in the middle of counseling, in the middle of dealing with one another. He said, if you got a brother that just don't see it a certain way, then can you take low? Can you be defrauded? What's that? Oh, can you just be defrauded until this person figures it out?
Or they don't figure it out.
It doesn't matter. But once again, you have to make the adjustments so the word can freely flow. But that's how you fix things in-house and not have to rely on Edomites and judicial scenarios and outside sources. Or having to go up the chain of command 1,000 times. And if you don't have to sit back here and go call a high council just off some petty things.
Over strawberries.
Because a lot of times these councils we get are very petty.
Yeah.
These B-house arguments are petty as hell. And the reason they're petty is nobody just wants to be defrauded. Am I right or wrong? It just takes one person to take low.
We call them generals.
And there's no counsel.
Over strawberries. I'm like, but we got to call his brother.
Is a fruit counsel
out? They're going to deal with his family. Huh?
It's a fruit counsel out.
We agreed to go to the grocery store and write this list. Everything on the list gets bought. And nothing else that's on the list gets bought.
Yeah.
But you want strawberries. And because you want strawberries, you're going to call
I didn't hear the strawberry counsel.
No, you're going to call generals out because you want strawberries. But it's still what Israel does. But
it is. Everybody's laughing, but that's just one example of many examples.
Yeah, but it shows you Israel is incessant.
And nobody wants to take a low and take a loss. How many times can we just accept you're not going to get it your way? And being the leader, accept that you're not going to get it how you want it and be okay with it for the sake of peace. Because if not, we have to go to war for this. Now, Exhibit A. I did put strawberry on the list out. I put straw. He should have known it was berries. You know what I mean? And now they're going to all this judicial crap to get to the bottom of something that shouldn't have to be gotten to the bottom of. Can somebody just take it low and be defrauded? But too many times I see Israelis go back and forth. And they just keep fueling it. And they keep feeding it. Because they got to be right.
Yeah.
I got to be proven right. And he's like, this is why, if this is how brothers roll, you might as well put the youngest ranking man in the house and run things and make decisions. Because nothing's going to get accomplished with that type of thinking. Anyway, so let's read
verse 8.
Let's read verse 8.
1 Corinthians 6 and 8. Nay, you do wrong.
He says, no, brothers do wrong. They don't want to take being defrauded. They don't want to take low. Read on.
Nay, you do wrong and defraud.
Brothers defraud. Brothers will fight to get what they want because what they want matters. And they don't care about taking low, keeping the peace, and making decisions based on what the body needs. Read on.
And that your brethren.
And he says, and that you're taking advantage of your brother because you just can't take low. Once again, this topic is for the ranking man. So the one with the superior experience should just take it low. To sit back and eliminate all this chaos that happens amongst the body. But we choose not to do that because we prefer our emotions. We want to hold our stance. We want to act like we didn't do nothing wrong. We want to play this I'm going to defend myself scenario. That doesn't work long term. And that's not how you keep a camp and a body of brothers in harmony. Or a household in harmony. Yes.
Isaiah 50 and verse 4.
God.
Real quick. Because there was a definition of weary that I wanted to bring out. Read that. Isaiah 50 and verse 4.
Come. Isaiah chapter 50 and verse 4 reads, the Lord power hath given me the tongue of the learned.
What Isaiah is speaking about is the ability to touch and affect every single person in their given or whatever they necessarily need. Let me say it again. Having the ability to touch, inspire every single person depending on what they need. So in this particular case, he's dealing with people who are anti-Isaiah, who are anti-change, who are anti-hearing the commandments of the Most High, but still having the ability to maneuver the situation, though people are agitated, they're frustrated, they're hateful, they're angry, they're rebellious, and still be able to affect those type of individuals. That's why I said this is a given skill from the Most High. That's a tongue to learn. Read on.
Come, the Lord power hath given me the tongue of the learned, that I should know how to speak a word in season to him that is weary.
Weary, by definition, having the patience exhausted. Do we have the tongue and the skill necessary to still inspire someone who is not even willing to listen, who's already frustrated, who's already agitated? Because when people get to that point, that's when we get agitated. That's when we get prideful. You got anger, I got anger. You're frustrated, I'm frustrated. You're tired of talking, I'm tired of talking. So now we're going to end this conversation with ending on a high note. I'm going to walk out of here feeling like I won, or I got something out of this.
It's a competition.
It's now a competition. But Isaiah understood having the ability to speak and inspire in season, meaning there's tact to it, there's skill to it. I'm not just saying words, I'm not blabbering. I'm speaking to inspire, and I know when and where to hit certain points. Keep reading.
He wakeneth morning by morning. He wakeneth my ear to hear as the learned.
And that's the key point. Am I attentive to the students? Am I attentive to their spirit, where they're at? The more attentive I am to them, the more attentive I can be to my own reactions. This person can't handle a hard check right now. This person already agitated on the few checks that I gave him. Can I slow it down for him? Obviously, there was a disconnect. When I said something, there was a little face twitch. He didn't get it. Let me slow it down. Let me slow my pace down. Let me slow my frustration down. What you got?
You paying attention basically to the reactions and not giving into those reactions as you're counseling them.
But you can only do that when it's not about you.
When it's not about you
and how you feel.
Exactly.
You can do that when you're not motivated by how you feel and how angry you are and how disrespected you are. Because in order for the person to be defrauded, you can't be consumed by how disrespected you feel. Brother, sit back here and keep arguments going for days because I can't accept the fact that I was disrespected. Listen, we get disrespected all the damn time. All the time. Somebody still has to take low. No, I got disrespected. I'm going to hold this one down. I'm not losing this.
Right.
This is how Israel does, huh? I'm sorry. Keep going.
No, but because the more disconnected I am emotionally, the better I can hear and listen.
You can't. That's the only way you can listen. I'm not worried about how I'm disrespected. I'm not trying to push rank all the time. That's not how you win your people.
And I can stay in season now. I'm not overboard when it's not time to be overboard. I can be in season because I'm attentive. So I understand this isn't about me. And I'm not going to let the emotion. This is why the Most High gave this ability to this type of person, Isaiah, because what he was about to go through and embark in, he was about to be spit at, beaten. You read down, he was getting beaten.
Turn his back to smiters.
Turn his back to spite. People are pulling his hair out. You need a certain level of discipline. That's what it is discipline. And being able to hear and be attentive to still disconnect even though everyone hates you. Even though all you're getting is disrespect. All you're getting is disgrace. But still being able to be humble and loving enough to disseminate the message without taking it personal.
Like Christ said, forgive them for they don't know what they did.
Yeah.
How do you sit back and endure crucifixion and say they didn't know what they did? They knew exactly what they did.
Same thing with Stephanus.
They knew exactly what they did. Yeah, Stephen.
So Stephen said the same thing.
Yeah.
Because the understanding was, you don't understand.
The magnitude.
If you understood the magnitude of what you're doing, this wouldn't have crossed your mind. You wouldn't have acted this way.
Even with I think it was the Israelites that killed Isaiah, right? That stretched them apart. Yeah, even with him, they
But that's the point. Isaiah went through it all, but still, he's able to listen, attend, and motivate, inspire. And whoever was going to listen, we're going to listen. And whoever wasn't, they weren't. But it wasn't about who was going to listen. Even when you read in Ezekiel, I think it's Ezekiel 3, you're just a messenger to testify against them when the Most High has talked to them.
That's the point. So when the Most High judges them, he says, I sent Isaiah to you.
Yeah.
And you didn't listen.
He didn't listen either.
That's all our role to do is to do.
Is that what last warn? The last witness.
Somebody got to warn you. So when you choose not to do it, the Most High says, I sent my prophets to you. You didn't listen. That's as far as it takes.
Yeah. That's why it's not personal.
That's all we can do.
That's why it's not personal.
But we try to make too much. We try to make it about us too much, and this is why we're not capable or we're not qualified to truly be leaders and counselors. Because it's too much about us.
You know, it's crazy. I always like the concept that you guys and Kawakab was already pushing about. We're not preachers, because the idea of if I just tell myself, "Hey, I'm just a messenger. I'm just a scribe. I'm just a teacher," I humble myself so I don't get inflated. Because if you put yourself on the pedestal like I'm the top don.
I'm the priest.
How could you disrespect me like this? I'm the guy right now. I'm the guy. How could you talk to me this way? I'm the guy. Then now
that's why Dad said, listen, y'all got to come lock into me if you guys get to the kingdom.
And
it's
easy to get that level of problem.
There is a brother who says that.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a couple brothers that say that. There's a couple can't say that.
But it's implied.
Yeah.
No. Everybody got to fall into this.
They say in the YouTube content, if you don't ain't come from us, it ain't the truth. I've seen.
That's what I'm saying. What does that mean? That means if you don't fall in, you ain't making the kingdom.
You ain't making it, dog. You ain't reading the same book.
You got to go to this. You got to go to these schools on this street corner, man. If not, you ain't.
If you got shit in Africa, you got to give them the boat out.
Yeah.
You go all the way to the States. You want the truth, eh?
That's crazy.
You got to give them the boat out.
Brother, if you're in Rio de Janeiro, you better go with those cats, with them 300 word boys.
You better go up the Amazon River and go report.
Exactly. Report. You better report.
You ain't gonna make it.
You
better leave that jungle.
But that's when you make it too much about yourself, not about just being blameless to deliver the message.
But that's a natural tendency of men to inflate themselves.
Yeah.
A lot of this is counseling with inflation added.
Yeah.
personal inflation.
Like we're more valuable than we
Because
are.
as soon as a brother sees disrespect, the whole spirit of counsel changes.
Yeah.
Or if it's even perceived disrespect. Now all of a sudden the brother can't counsel. Nobody can take low. Nobody can be defrauded. And that just shows that man's inexperience and lack of leadership and lack of counseling. What we're trying to do is just help brothers learn how to be mature. We're learning how to rehearse the righteous acts.
Yep.
So in hopes that how we carry ourselves and how we learn how to counsel one another will translate into getting to the kingdom and leading the world and counseling the world and eventually counseling angels or judging angels and judging the world.
But and this too,
like the scripture says.
But also this too is just, hey, bro, men forget humility. Men think humility only applies when you're a trooper to a soldier. After that, it don't apply anymore. But it applies no matter what rank you're
For the rest of your life. It applies when you're at your own home.
That's the killer.
Because I'm going to say there's a lot of people don't understand that people try to push rank and shit at the house. Yeah. It don't work like that. It doesn't work.
It's not like
rank and order at the house. You have to learn brotherhood and sisterhood at the house. People should try to be flexing rank at the house when people are paying bills together. How does that make sense? Everybody's chipping the same money on electric bill. We're going to put rank? Didn't the scripture say right? Well, not the scripture, but this is the thing we've always said. Righteousness should be before what?
Rank.
Especially at a house. Righteousness should be over rank.
Well, Christ said the same thing. The servant's not greater than the master. So if Christ is rubbing feet to his disciples, if he's taking low, if he's quote unquote the high ranking man doing humble work,
then why can't we learn? Why can't we learn how to work with each other and stop pushing rank and I'm over you and you over me? That's childish.
Rank flexing.
And nobody knows the person with the best rank and highest rank should be the first person to be defrauded. Yeah. I don't know why he says that. Like Paul said, the person with the highest rank should be the one that takes the lowest, the quickest.
Yeah.
This is just something that we have to understand because once again, these classes have been about what? The importance of counseling without selfish intentions, without narrow-minded, youthful intentions, without arrogant intentions, without proud intentions. Okay. You done with that verse?
Mm-hmm.
Let that verse go. And let's get back. Let's do this. Let's go to 2 Corinthians 11, verse 7 through 12. I think this is going to be one of the last ones we do. I think the message is brought out, or the message is given. 11, verse 7 through 12.
2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 7. Everywhere.
Yep.
It says, "Have I committed an offense in abasing myself, that ye might be exalted?"
Paul keeps explaining what it takes to lead. One has to abase himself so the other person can be exalted. Have we learned to embrace that? Can we learn how for the ranking man to abase themselves so the younger person can be exalted? We don't look at things that way. When we even establish rank, we want to sit back here and keep pushing rank, but the greatest in rank abases themselves so that the body can be exalted. Read on.
It says, "Because I have preached to you the other gospel of the Most High freely."
Because I have preached to you the gospel of the Most High freely. He's like, Paul taught this word freely with no expectation, with no financial expectation behind it. This message is free. It has been free. Read on.
"I robbed other churches."
He says, I sat back here and took and pulled from other places, other churches, other venues. Read on.
"Taking wages of them to do you service."
So what he's saying is I sat back and leaned on other stable churches so that I wouldn't have to put the pressure on you guys in Corinth. Read on.
9. "And when I was present with you and wanted, I was chargeable to no man."
He says, when I was with you and I had needs, I was chargeable to no man. That means everything that he needed, he got himself. And he made sure that he didn't pull any resources from the church in Corinth for it to be brought out down the line that he was taken from the church, or for it to be thrown out to him that the things he needed impeded or slowed down the growth of Corinth.
He wasn't tied to him.
But it wasn't even tied to him. It was even on a lower level than that. He said, I didn't pull nothing from you, so I couldn't be used as a reason why you couldn't get closer to Christ. I took no resources from you.
Yeah.
Because I know if he knew how Israel thought.
Of course.
I'm going to be blameless so people don't look at me as if I'm trying to take advantage of you guys on any level. But this is the position of the leader. I'm going to take low. I'm going to be defrauded. Let's think about this. Paul's in a new city with no resources. And he's purposely not extracting anything from the people he's teaching because he knows how people start to look at you when you ask for help. So because he's trying to get these students to see the purity in the word, he takes a step back and he removes himself in the equation so they can see the word and embrace the word in its purest form. You know how many times if we sat back and just were defrauded and took low, the person could take the lesson a lot easier and learn quicker?
Yep.
If we just are defrauded and take low,
You can say
they can sit back here and see maybe they'll pattern that action with the next person they come across. Versus when they see you arguing back and forth, then it justifies them to argue back and forth. If they see you holding your stance and not backing down, then they're not going to back down.
Yep.
But if they see you take low, then maybe next time they will take low with you or the next person they come across. It's like a monkey see, monkey do thing.
Yeah.
If they see you about your bread and taking, extracting, then they're going to extract and take.
Yeah.
Read on.
It says, for that which was lacking to me, the brethren which came from Macedonia supplied.
He said, I just suffered until the brothers from Greece came and helped me out. From Macedonia helped me out. I didn't ask nothing from y'all because if I did, you would look at the work different.
You know what it does? It would an impressionable spirit that doesn't know what this is about will think that's what it's about.
Okay.
So let me lean on experienced brothers.
Yep. Who understand what this is about. So that my actions don't get in the way of this new student, this new camp's perspective about the Most High.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that too, because when you have somebody brand new comes to the camp, they don't know what the hell this is
But
about.
the point is this. I'm bringing this out to show that the ranking man, the judge, who understands justice and equity, always is focused on how his conduct would affect the younger men. He's always focusing on fixing what's inside of him and standing out for himself because he's concerned about how his actions have an effect on the people he's around. And that is the number one thing that governs the leader. Let me deny myself as much as I can so that my conduct and character doesn't affect the people I'm responsible for. Right on.
And in all things I have kept myself from being burdensome unto you.
Right on.
And so will I keep myself.
He says, I'm going to get out of the way of your what? Development. I'm going to get out of the way of your development so your experience in Christ can be pure and unblemished. Read on.
As the truth of Christ is in me, no man shall stop me of this boasting in the regions of Achaia.
Achaia. Those are the only things we should be boasting of. How much we denied ourselves. How much we took low. How much we defrauded ourselves so that the younger student can really embrace this word easier. What we should find pride in is how many times we didn't make it about us so that others can walk this walk with greater clarity and greater understanding. Read on.
Verse 11. Wherefore, because I love you not, the Most High knoweth. But what I do, that will I do, that I may cut off occasion from them which desire occasion.
He says the reason I'm blameless is so that he can cut off an occasion for somebody to tap into his flesh from them who desire occasion. What is that saying? He says some people are looking for the flaw in you because they desire seeing that in other people to justify their wrongdoing. So he says, I'm going to do what I do so I can eliminate your justification to get weak. And your excuse to get weak. He says, your occasion of the flesh. So I'm going to remove anything that might look skeptical or sketchy so that you don't justify your occasion of the flesh. Is that?
He's removing the stumbling block, or he's removing the hypocrisy.
Or the possibility of hypocrisy.
He's making sure it's not going to be there.
I'm eliminating everything so the skeptical person has no fuel to be skeptical. The person that wants to look at the worst of my actions has nothing to hold on to. And he says that type of effort and that type of commitment is what Paul gloried in. That's what he was happy about. That's what made him, that's what fueled his pride. He says that's what should be what makes us who we are. How good of an example was I? And how many things did I eliminate out of myself so that somebody else can purely see this word and eliminate their excuses not to commit? But that's what a true judge is. That's what a true counselor should operate in. Not about defrauding others or putting people in a position to think they're being defrauded, but to sit back here and defraud yourselves. He defrauded himself with just basic supplies. He defrauded himself with just basic necessities so that the body can see the word for what it was. We're going to leave it at that. There's more to it, but we're going to leave it at that, y'all. We're going to let this one go and go back into the other phase of this counseling intention. Thank you for tuning in, y'all. I'll see y'all on, Shams Shawan's got Wednesday, and I'll see y'all on Saturday. Salam.